Well, hey there, YouTube, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mailbag. Mailbag, what's in the mailbag? And never mind my wife's making me some cereal for breakfast. So, mailbag, what's in the mailbag? We'll go from the smallest package to the largest package. We've got some mail to open. Anytime there's mail to open, it's a good day. I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I know there's some stuff I've been waiting a long time for. It hits a sorting center and like April 11th. If you're following the package and the tracking, it'll say, oh, it's arrived at a tracking center. Oh, did it? And there it sits since April 11th. So I don't know if that means somebody at the tracking center tracked it into their personal possession. Oh, look at this. It's the BBE Sonic Maximizer circuit. So this is, I believe it's 4 to 15 volt DC, and they've squeezed the old BBE Sonic Maximizer circuit into a chip. So this board has, let me get a pencil, and here, we could use this. So here's our power input. Again, I said 4 to 15 volt DC, which means 12 generally. Over here on the bottom is probably the input. Oh, this is the output, excuse me. Output is here, and then on the top we have the input. And it comes with 3 cables. These look like they may actually even be shielded cables. So this was like $3 for this. There's just a handful of little capacitors on the board. You can see the micro SMT capacitors. These guys here, they look like little coffee cans. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 smaller, and then a electrolytic capacitor. Gee, this is going to be long if I read the value of every part on the board. Now, there is a jumper here where you can remove the jumper on off, and this bypasses the circuit. So more than likely how this will come into play would be I would install a switch, a toggle switch, and then on the device you would be able to bypass the BBE circuit or engage it. And this goes on a regular audio line. I believe when I'm looking at, I went and tried to find a example of this, and I believe from memory that you put this on the input side of things, depending on where you're at. But like if it would be in between your mixer and your power amp. So on the output of the audio's coming out of the mixer mains, you would install this. And what it is, mind you, the BBE was making claims about time displacement, where the audio frequencies, the bass and the treble, travel at different speeds. So how would that be? The treble travels faster than the bass. So you're hearing them at different times. Like you fire off a note on your guitar and it's like a slant, like it's the treble's hitting first, then the bass. And this causes phase cancellation issues, which is just, it cancels out certain frequencies and makes it sound dull. So according to the original product release information that was put out, and that they would delay just the low frequencies. Now, people looked into this product. They opened it up and looked at it, and what they saw, the components did not lend to believability that this is actually what's going on. It seemed more like it was just kind of some filtering going on, like an equalizer. And I really believe that's what it is. I cannot tell you for sure, but looking at this, I think I saw a diagram of the chip. The actual chip number. You know what? I'm not going to read the chip number. You're just going to have to trust me. It's not, there's no time phase alignment going on. It's just an EQ. Now, the thing about that is, typically for me, I always like to have an EQ, and I always set it the same way, which is usually the treble is at like 3 o'clock or 75% up. The mid-range will be at noon or boosted just a little bit, and then the bass will be in between there. So it's almost like a smile curve if you had a graphic equalizer with a bunch of bands. So this little circuit, if you build something audio related, let's say you build a headphone amp and you want a little bit more high end, this is what you can get. And some of these circuits even have switches independent for the high and low side, meaning not only is there a jumper that you can bypass the circuit, there's a jumper for the treble and a jumper for the bass. So you can have regular treble or boosted treble, regular bass and boosted bass. So I had bought this to go in an EQ that I had built. I'm running that EQ off of 24 volt, and I just assumed this would be the same spec. It's not. It's 12, which means I would have to either change the voltage that I'm running my EQ at, or ideally I would install a 7812 VREG with a couple of filtering capacitors inside this unit. So split off that 24 volts into a VREG. Now, sometimes when you run two different things, audio things, off the same power supply, you can run into ground loops or phasing issues or different interference things. And then I saw that there's a new PCB on the market where I would be installing this BBE Sonic Maximizer board in my equalizer that I built, my 3-band EQ. It's a little box, a little guy, volume, bass, mid, and treble. And that's on my headphone amp rig. So I see that for $10, $9.75, there's an EQ, 4-band EQ board that has a pair of slotted or where you can remove them, a pair of counterfeit NE5532 chips. Now I have the real chips, so I could install like these really good chips in there, and it also has the BBE board built in, and you run this off of one power supply. Mind you, it's a lower voltage, but being this as on an EQ that's going to be in a chain, that's going to have a device that has a preamp on it already, putting the output with a master volume control. Then there's an EQ with a master volume control. Then there's another headphone amp. I'm not so much worried about all the gain having to be maxed out and super headroom. It's just not a concern for me. And the idea that for $10 I can get everything combined on one board So ordering this was kind of a misstep. I didn't know that they made that board. I found out later after I had ordered this. So I've got this, I've got a spare. I very well may test it out and see if there's an interference running it off of a singular power supply with the EQ. And if it's not, if there's no problem with that, I will install this into that EQ because there's a bypass. So this would be like, you want to run the EQ or the EQ with the extra filtering. So I would put this on the input and go nuts. Oh, I think I know what this is. I had a guy, Norman Sizemore, and he was interested in buying these speakers, and he was like, I do not waste people's time. He just kept emailing. He was like, it said in the ad, it was like after 7 p.m. only, and only email. I don't text, I don't phone. And immediately he's like, text me at this number and I want to do the deal in the morning. So then it's like, I'm like, I need to get a hold of my wife and find out if we can do this. So I'm like leaving her voicemails and emailing her. And then at the last, and I didn't hear from her, she took a late lunch. Then at the last minute, the guy's like, oh no, I got called into work. We'll do it on the weekend. So then it comes up, and he's still emailing me back and forth. He's like, are the drivers original? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I listened to it. It sounds, the speakers sound unbelievable. The high end is incredible. The staging is great. The speakers, I took them out and looked at the magnets, are huge. They're real heavy. They're really well built. But I have no way of knowing if they're the original drivers. And then he ghosted me today. I texted him at his number and he comes back, you must have a wrong number. Then I email him and he doesn't respond. So all I've got to say about that is if you're dealing with another human being, don't ever say something like if you're gonna, there's a chance you're gonna screw them over, don't say, hey, I don't screw people over. Don't say that, because you're just gonna look like an even bigger a-hole. Where are the cat treats?
Here. You gave them to me.
They're all, the cat treats are always out of reach.
You gave them to me to get out of the shop.
And so he immediately, Keitha jumps up and is staring at me.
Oh, hi, buddy. Hi. Daddy's making movies. Daddy's on TV.
So yeah, I dealt with that today, and the reason I brought all that up is this package contains my phone. This is where did my phone go? Oh, it's just out of reach. So this is my phone cover, and it's, my phone's on, so it's, ooh, oh, I kind of like that. There's a hole cut out for where it says Motorola, and it's offset. Does this even fit on here properly? Yeah, I guess it kind of does.
Just make sure you don't accidentally hit emergency call.
Oh my God, tap here to confirm emergency location. So yeah, this is supposed to look like a studio monitor, this phone cover. And this was something that I have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for that. So I have a phone cover now. I have a phone case. This is on. I think I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. I should have shown you there's a picture of Keitha. And interestingly enough, I purchased a new guitar toy. I have a NUX MG30, and that device has a option to upload your own photograph for the splash screen when it powers up. And I have a picture of Keitha, and it says, I think it says Keitha Chikiwabitin. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it finally arrived. This is not, man, this is not worth the money. This is kind of a cheap feeling. Oh, it comes in a Ziploc bag, mailbag. What's in the mailbag? This is a oh my God. It's missing. It's missing the conductive. Yeah. So this is going to have to go back. There's 2 screws in a baggie and some little plastic parts. You get this. Wow, this is really cheap. Cheapo, cheapo, cheapo. There should be metal rails to the idea with this box is man, this is cheap. It's this box that you put batteries in it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here is this PCB where you can tap your power from, and you have to assemble this yourself, which I really don't mind that, but they did not include any of the metal connections. Do you have to do you have to break this? It looks like this part, like the side part of the PCB, they didn't break off the rail when they manufactured it, so it's too wide to even fit into its yeah, now it fits. You just had to break that off. Okay, so this doesn't even fit. It I would have to drill out the hole for the LED. It's a really unusual LED. When they installed the LED, they didn't cut the wires. The leads on the LED are too long. This should be flush. This should seat all the way up. And then there is wow, what a fun mailbag. There are these pieces here for the LED the power indicator, this plastic piece. This is almost like what I would call a jewel lens. It pops in here. So you see those 4 LED indicators? There's a little piece of plastic that pops in there, and then here is the button for the push button operation for the power. Also snaps in. And like I said, I waited an incredibly long time for this to arrive. It arrives, it's mismanufactured so poorly. So that's going to be another video that I'm going to have to make and upload to get my money back. And as far as this device goes, this power pack, I'm ashamed to say how I'm just appalled at how poorly this is put together. Mailbag, you never know what you're going to get in the mailbag, and this represents a whole huge headache for me. Interestingly enough, after I ordered that, I found one of these, which is a 9-volt, 5400 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery. These are for rechargeable. These are for DVD players. For your child, has to have a screen in front of it. Then you get these. They were more like 2000, like Y2K to 2010 devices. So this big battery is it enables you to run the DVD player all week without worrying about charging it for your kid. And I found one of those. It was $12, but half price, which means it had sat in the case. It was in the case at Goodwill where they keep the nice stuff. So we got this, which is heavy, and this, which is light. This is Amazon. There was a free 30-day trial on Prime, and we've got these are Cosmos brand. I think they're velour headphone pads. Now this guy had promised me he's purchasing the speaker, so I bought myself a pair of headphones, and now he's not buying them. So that's just gonna come out of my pocket. But yeah, these are supposed to be really nice headphone pads. They weren't any more money, and they don't really seem like anything special. The proof in the pudding will be when the headphones arrive, which they were listed on Alibaba for a lower price, and when I actually checked out, all of a sudden it was like they had come up to the normal price that they were selling them on Amazon, and I just clicked on it. I never should have done that, because if I would have just X'd out of that and went over to Amazon, the headphones would have arrived today or tomorrow, and I would have them. Instead, now I gotta wait till June or July, or are they even gonna come because of Alibaba and his 40 thieves? We'll see. But those are gonna be my fourth set, probably final pair of headphones I buy in my life, unless I run into some used ones. But I really love the Superlux brand of headphones, and I'm going to put those off for later. Now this is heavy. I have no idea what this is. And this is our final package for mailbag today. Oh! It's a guitar pedal! How cool is that? This is a noise gate, and nothing appears to be wrong with it.
I just checked your email for you. Tomorrow at 4.
Tomorrow at 4.
I'm just getting home from work. I thought I'm gonna check it because it's 3:30. So you're welcome. I'll let you handle that.
This pedal is not turning on. If this pedal doesn't work, I'm not gonna be a happy boy. It doesn't fucking work. Oh, this is not plugged in on the other end. There we go.
Yay!
And let's see, does it? Yeah, it doesn't shut off. So this little noise gate is going to be going on my wife's pedal board. She's got some distortions or like an overdrive built into the. She uses something called a wine box, wine crate, which is it's just the worst name for a pedal. But that's it's one of the affordable like. Donna, would you mind looking behind you, your pedal board, the yellow pedal? Who makes that? Is it Moore or Julio or?
I think it's Julio.
Donner?
This one? The wine cellar?
Yeah.
Oh, it's K-Line.
K-line. It's a K-line bass preamp, and it's got like a mix knob for the distortion. There's a harmonics knob, gain, volume, bass, and mid-range. And I gotta tell you, that pedal has an XLR out on it. As far as bass stuff goes, I really like that. Now, mind you, if you turn turn the gain all the way up on the distortion, built-in distortion, it's a little disappointing. It's a little fizzy, maybe, I would say. But set it halfway, and I'll tell you what, we have a distortion pedal, which is a Julio Ultimate Drive, and that was a highly recommended for bass guitar distortion or dirt box. So the distortion comes before that preamp, and when you play around with the mix and the amount of grit, it totally changes the character of the previous distortion, and it gives more high end on it. If you have the harmonics turned up, it's really cool. So stacking those drives gives you more tones and more of that like dark glass, modern jink kind of modern bass tone. So I am super happy. She's got a Korg DT10 tuner, really nice tuner, man. And it's got a buffer in it. There's Snow White Ottawa, which we moved a couple of capacitors, so to move the frequency sweep down into the bass tone. And after that mod, I was much more impressed with how that worked. The Julio Ultimate Drive is a great distortion for bass. You don't have to worry about splitting your frequency. It's when you engage this thing, it doesn't cut out any low end, and it's just a great sounding dirt box for bass. There is a Coco compressor, which actually was like 20. Some of these pedals were affordable. It's kind of an affordaboard. And then I built the Omni Cab Sim and the Wine Box. So when we start getting all gained up, and my wife is not as conscious about things as I am, where she'll take her hands off of the instrument, and then that opens it up, it's not really grounded, you'll hear some hum through the headphones. And that drives me cuckoo. I need silence in between the songs. So this was like 20. It's used, but it was 20 shipped, and it showed up right away. So we're going to be using this today. We're supposed to play, I think, today. We're going to be using this, and it's eventually going to get mounted. Actually, what I'll do, I wanted to use bicycle chain master links to mount this, and I ordered those. They're coming. They're going to be coming in a month or so. So in the meantime, I have to come up with another way of mounting this, and that may very well be drilling a pair of holes and running a zip tie, a long zip tie. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Mailbag. These are always going to be long, chatty videos. When I do a mailbag, this was an ideal situation because I had so much stuff show up at once. But you know what? If you order a lot of stuff, it just seems like that's how it goes. It'll be a Monday and like, boom, here he comes, like Santa Claus. So that makes me wonder, how long am I waiting on this stuff till they get the gumption to actually deliver it? All right, you guys, try to stay cool. It's getting to be humid here. We're running our dehumidifier, which is a great tip. You can maybe run your air conditioner a little bit less. And recently I got this USB fan from Goodwill, and it has 3 speeds on it. Last night I used it I'm charging 18650 batteries with this charger, and this thing gets HOT hot, especially when you have completely empty cells. So we had found a laptop power pack that pops in, black plastic thing that pops into the bottom of the laptop. It's full of 6 of these batteries. Basically, that thing, you take it and you just kind of twist it until it starts cracking. You can crack it open and rip it apart. And then you have to very carefully, or wear gloves, remove all the metal connectors, the power connectors. It's sheets of very thin, sharp metal that connect the batteries. That's what's missing from this, the connectors. There's strips of metal that they did not include. So, and this was $10 for this piece of junk. This is an absolute piece of trash. And I'm going to be getting a full refund on that. They'll probably tell me I can keep it, and then am I going to solder together my own connections? I'm going to have to reset the LED and then solder my own connection. So I've got my work cut out for me. The first thing I got to do before I modify this thing is try to get my money back. So mailbag is what it is. What I was getting about this, there's vents on the top for cooling, but this thing gets so hot. And yesterday I had this little fan, which runs off our USB, blasting on this, and it was cool as a bug in a rug. Now this battery here, you have the question mark on it. I've been charging it and charging it and charging it. It's hot, which means something's going on, but it won't ever hit that green stage where it's oh, now there's no voltage. How do you like that? Well, this one is going to have to go to battery heaven, and with that I will bid you guys adieu again. Hug your pets, give them some treats from me. Petey Two Finger, I bid you adieu. And, of course, peace.